Okay, we managed to do this. I don't know what's going on there. Okay, anyway, a good tabach to all. A very interesting trivia question. Like, what does Nazir Lamed Gimel have to do with Parshas Baal Loischa? Baruch, what's the answer to the question? Nazir Lamed Gimel has no Tosfos, has no Gemara. On Lamed Gimel Lamed Beis, there's no Gemara. And Baal Loischa has the upside down nuns in base. So in the Chumash baseball, that's your big home run. That's your grand slam. So that's your two trivia questions, if you remember, to bring us back in time. The upside down nuns in Baal Loischa, and if you take a Lamed Gimel, it brings you smiles to everyone's face who learns Daf Yomi. However, in truth, we did all those Tosfos in because they were all explaining Daf Lamed Aleph. So we're up to the Mishnah on Lamed Beis, Amid Beis. Mishnah Lamed Beis, Amid Beis. Very fascinating Mishnah. We did it before, and we'll do it now with Tosfos. So do it the right way. Shragi started asking questions on at that time. I dafka defrayed him because it was going to take us off the path we were going then. But tonight we'll go ahead and explain it. Says the Mishnah. We have the gear says Shisha Shahayim Halchim Baderech. There's 6 people who are going on the way. The Echad Ba Kenegdon, and one person is coming opposite. Then Amar Echad Mehem. One person says, Hareini Nazir Shezeh Ploini. I am a Nazir that this is so and so. Now, this is not a Tanai. This is important, guys. It's not that I'm a Nazir if it's so and so. He's saying I'm a Nazir because it's so and so. He's making a statement of the Naziris. I'm being Mekabel Naziris because this guy is so and so. It's very important. Ve'echad Amar, a second individual says, Hareini Nazir Shein Zeh Ploini. I'm a Nazir because this guy is not a Nazir, because that's not him. In other words, let's call him Ruvain. So you have 2 guys 1 and 2. We're going to give them numbers. Guys 1 and 2. One says I'm a Nazir because that's Ruvain. Number 2 says I'm a Nazir because that's not Ruvain. I'm a Nazir because that's not Ruvain. Hareini Nazir she'echad mechem Nazir. A third person says I'm a Nazir because either 1 or 2 is a Nazir, and a third person says a fourth person says she'enech mehem Nazir. I'm a Nazir because one of you is not a Nazir. So you have Ruvain coming, 1 and 2. 1 says I'm a Nazir because it's Ruvain. 2 says I'm a Nazir because it's not Ruvain. 3 says I'm a Nazir because one of you is a Nazir. And 4 says I'm a Nazir because one of you is not a Nazir. Number 5 says Shnechem Nazirim. I'm a Nazir because both 1 and 2 are Nazirim. And number 6 says Shekulcha Nazirim. I'm a Nazir because all you are Nazirim. All previous 5 people. Beis Shammai Oimrim, Beis Shammai says Kulam Nazirim. All of them are Nazirim. Beis Hillel Oimrim ain't a Nazir. And Beis Hillel says what? You're not a Nazir. We wanted to bring a proof that just like Naziris B'Tois, it's a mistake. I'm a Nazir because it's Ruvain. What happens if it's not? I'm still a Nazir. I made a mistake. That's Beis Shammai. That's the mistake. I'm a Nazir because it's Ruvain. That's not Ruvain. This was the Gemara we brought in before in the sugya of Hegdish B'Tois, and we can go ahead and comparing Naziris to Hegdish. Just like Hegdish is Al Yedei Dibur, so to Naziris is Al Yedei Dibur. You can go ahead and be magna something. And this is why we brought it in that venue. But again, it's not a Tanai, because if it's Tanai, then one of the first 2 guys is not a Nazir. They're all Nazirim. If you look at Tosfos, it's a Tosfos Shisha Hayim Halchim B'Derech. We're not going to go through the whole Tosfos. Go to right at the end of Tosfos. It says the Savei Beis Shammai, about 4 lines off from the end of Tosfos. The Savei Beis Shammai, the Naziris B'Tois Habi Nazir, Mishum de Kulon Naziris Niskavnu. They all niskaven from Naziris. V'gomru b'daitam liyos b'chol inyan, and they were going v'das to be a Nazir in any which way. I'm a Nazir because it's so and so. I'm a Nazir because it's not so and so. Not that it's a Tanai. I'm a Nazir because it is, and I'm making it on a foolish thing because I'm saying because it's Ruvain. This is Ruvain, but it's a Kabbalah's Naziris because if it was on a Tanai, this not would. If it's a Tanai, it would not be all a Nazirim. If you're telling me that the Makabel Naziris, so why is it contingent upon seeing Ruvain? Because he thought because of this reason. And this whole Mishnah was the Gemara used as a proof the hegdish b'toyis have a hegdish kidama b'gemara, as we said. So that's Beis Shammai. Beis Hillel says that Naziris b'toyis have a hegdish, and therefore they're all Nazirim. And Beis Hillel loimim ain't a Nazir. Beis Hillel says, in fact, they're not Nazirim. Beis Hillel says that ain't a Nazir. In fact, they're what? They're not Nazirim.
Laser.
But yes,
I know I'm bothering you, but
I know.
Why is the condition? It's not a condition. Why is the statement that he's making? I'm a Nazir because he's so and so. Why would that be considered a Pesach if it's wrong? He has a Pesach, that's to say that it's he doesn't want to be a Nazir.
What's the answer to your question? Are we describing a Pesach, or whether whether it's Nazirim or not?
In
I'm asking the question, Meya. We're not describing getting out. We're describing getting in. Right. We're not a Nazir. It might very well be a Pesach. Right? Okay. Had I known, it wouldn't be so and so. But again, we're not discussing Pesachim. Right?
Okay.
Getting out.
According to Beis Shammai, there wasn't a Pesach because B'tois is Hektish B'tois is Hektish anyway, so there's no Pesach.
There's no. Well, if Shrag is saying that Shrag is saying is true, right? That is we proved that that ain't Shela Behegdish. We proved ain't Shela Behegdish because he holds B'tois. So there is no Pesach over here, right? You are correct. You are correct. Beis Hillel ain't a Nazir. Beis Hillel says, in fact, you're not a Nazir. Why? Because he holds Hegdish B'tois, is not Hegdish. Ela mi shaloi niskaymu devarav. Who is a Nazir? Not all of them. Only the ones that the condition wasn't fulfilled, or the factor wasn't fulfilled, which makes no sense. It should be dafka the ones that it was Mekayim. In other words, it should be. Let's say it was Ruvain, then one should be. And the one that says that I'm a Nazir, that one of you is a Nazir should be. And the one that says I'm a Nazir, that one of you is not a Nazir should be. And the one that says that both of you are Nazir, only none of them should be. Right? Again, because they're both not Nazirim, only one's them a Nazir. So it's the Lashon is very funny. Shaloi niskayim devarav. It should be sheniskayim devarav. I'm going to see machlokes in the Gemara. Reb Tarfon Amar ein echa mehem Nazir. Right, Thomas says no one is a Nazir. Right, Rav Tarfon is of the opinion, and even though he's from the school of Shammai, he darshans the pasuk the following way: Ish kiyafli lindo neder nazir lahazal Hashem. It has to be at the time when you express a lashon. It has to be total clarity. It has to be for sure. And since over here at the time you said because this guy's a Nazir, he wasn't a Nazir, then therefore what? The Nazir isn't chal. That's Rav Tarfon's shita. Okay. Look at Taisvis. Rabbeinu Tarfon ein echem eb Nazir le'nitna naziris el hafla, meaning a clear expression. The Gabi Nazir ksiv ish ki yafli shetzorch lahafli. You have to express. L'kach kabbalas naziris afilu echem min hashnayim, even the first two shenimtzu kidvarav ein bar lei b'shas nidroi shehei Nazir at sheyava yetzlam. It wasn't clear that he would be a Nazir until that person showed up. The Yakiru and recognize him. The Kimish Lahei Borer Lahen Lois Shah, since it wasn't clear at that time, like Gamru Lias Nazirim, he wasn't going to be a Nazir. So again, going back to the whole, the Gemir, what does a person mean? He means that I'm not a Nazir because until this guy comes in front of me, and since it's not clear, Vashlishi Shama Echamechem Nazir, Hari Einechem Nazir, Varavi Nami. So therefore, this is not kiyafli. Back in the Mishnah. Here's Sila Chayrav. Let's say the guy never shows up. I'm a Nazir because this guy's Ruvain, right? And Ruvain never shows up. In other words, he turns around and exits stage left, right? He leaves. He's gone. Now, so you don't know. What's the din? Ain't a Nazir. Then in that case, you would not be a Nazir. The Tanna Kamma says you would not be a Nazir, right? Or Rav Tarfon, certainly Rav Tarfon, but Rav Shimon Yomer say the following: Im hoya kidvari, if it's like my words, hareini Nazir chayva, v'im lav hareini Nazir nidava. We had a machlokes earlier, guys, in the Masechta, right? Not this Masechta, as a matter of fact. We had a machlokes in another Masechta. If a person goes ahead and makes the Kabbalas Naziris on the condition, I guess we had it as Masechta, that there's 100 core in a pile of a Kri. You then go ahead, come back, and the Kri is no longer in existence. It's not there anymore. What's the halacha? Am I a Nazir? Am I not a Nazir? So, like Rabbi Yehuda, you're not a nazir because ain't adam nichnas atzma the suffix. A person's not going to be nichnas to a suffix. He's saying, I'm making a Tanai condition that it's there. It might have been there, but if it's not there now, and yet Rabbi Shimon says that no, a person will be machnas to a suffix. Therefore, like Rabbi Shimon, you have to take into the condition that maybe that guy was Ruvain, and the first two guys would have to go ahead, and any one of these people that works out that is the suffix, you'd have to go ahead and be makabel in the ziriswad of vadai. Why is that? Because if you're a nazir suffix, you are basically messed up beyond. You won't ever be able to take a haircut. Why? Because you have to do hakafa, and we pass can hakafa kol roy shmei hakafa, guys. So if you're not, the naziris is doicha cutting your hair off, but if you're a suffix nazir, you're not really a nazir, you won't be able to cut off your payas. How can you take a haircut? And sveitins, how can you bring karbonis? You're being a chulin tiyazara. How can you do that? You can't bring a carbon, right? So therefore, you'll really be messed up. So to avoid that, Rav Shimon's giving you advice. Those people who are in a suffix, be makabel a real naziris. By being makabel a real naziris, you would thus then would be able to go ahead and to bring karbonis and cut your hair. Okay, that's the Mishnah. Now the question is on the line of Beis Hillel. Says Beis Hillel, the only one who on nazirim is the one that the Tanai wasn't fulfilled, right? So his words weren't fulfilled. Mishlin is kind, says the Gemara. Mishlin is kind of Dvarov. Am I having nazir? Why should it be a nazir? You know, the guy, meaning, let's just, for brevity's sake, the guy who said it's Ruvain, meaning if it's not Ruvain, he's a nazir. That doesn't make any sense. If it's Ruvain, he's a nazir, but it's not Ruvain, he's not a nazir. What do you mean? His words weren't fulfilled. It's not Ruvain. So says the Gemara, I remember Yehuda, let's make an edit over here. Ema, Mishin Eskayim Devarov. Say someone whose words were fulfilled. Some, in other words, the ones whose words were fulfilled, let's say the first guy, it was Ruvain, he'd be a nazir, and the second guy not. Abayo Amar Kigoin the Amar Inami Lav Ploinihu. You have a Nazir. My line is Kaim Devar, my is Kaim Devar of Rishonim El Devar Machreinim. Okay, it's a new Kimta, guys. Abayo says the following. The guy said, I'm a Nazir if it's Ruvain, and then Toichadei Dibri he said, and I'm a Nazir if it's not Ruvain. Okay, he made a switch. So the question is, which one is what is correct? So we say Toichadei Dibur, we're going to go after the Achroin. So now, means which words are not Niskayim? The original words. The original words saying that it's Ruvain. If those words are Niskayim, but are what are Niskayim? His latter words saying it wasn't Ruvain, then he'd be a Nazir. So by is saying it's a Nukimta. Again, one more time. He switched around. Initially he said, I'm a Nazir if that's Ruvain, because that's Ruvain. Then he says, I'm a Nazir because it's not Ruvain. So it's on Loy Niskayim Devar, of which what he's speaking about is Abaya. The original words that he said, because the original words were that it's Ruvain. If those words are not fulfilled, but his latter words are fulfilled, that it's not Ruvain, then he's a Nazir. And that's the way Abaya kept the words of a Mishnah rather than editing, cutting it as Rav Yehuda did. Says the Gemara Vaita, Hirsil Achoyrav, he turns around, ain't a Nazir. If he goes back, he's not a Nazir. Haima Mishum, the reason he's not a Nazir because he turned around and Ruvain didn't show up. But if he would have showed up and we'd see that it's Ruvain, then Havi Nazir. Who is that money? Who is it? Lamed Dalet Amid Aleph. Let's see a smile from everybody. Lamed Dalet Amid Aleph. Elema Reb Tarfin. If it's going to say Reb Tarfin, me Havi Nazir, like Reb Tarfin, guys, is it a Nazir? Even the B'shaited the Kanazar Loyoda, since at the time he expressed in the Naziris, it wasn't known. E ploini hu the Eloi. If it's ploini or not, mi chala oner Naziris was the Naziris what chal. I've Tanya Rabbi Yehuda Omer Mishum Reb Tarfin ein echem mehem Nazir lefish le'nit Naziris elo lehafla. Again, as we spoke out in the Mishnah and we saw in Taisvis, ish kiyafli, it has to be total clarity. Since at the time of the expression of Naziris, there wasn't clarity because we don't know if it's Ruvain or not, even if you find out later it's Ruvain, you're not a Nazir. So the Tana of the Mishnah who said, Hirsil Achoyrov is not a Nazir, but if he shows up it can't be what? It can't be Rabbi Tarfin, El Rabbi Yehuda decree. So who must it be? It must be Rabbi Yehuda decree. The Tanya, Hareini Nazir al Menashe Yehei Bikri Hazeh. You said that what, right? You say I'm a Nazir if there is in this Kri Meyakor, in this pile of grain, there's Meyakor. He goes and he finds that it was stolen. It was lost. Rabbi Shimon says he's a Nazir. He's also to drink wine. Rabbi Yehuda Matir to drink wine. Rabbi Shimon Sava Kimin the Ilulay Nignav. Since if it wasn't stolen, Dilman Havi Be Meyakor, maybe there was Meyakor, Vavi Nazir, Hashtanami Havi Nazir, because a person is nichtas the suffix. But Hachanami Kimin the Asla Kamon Viadina deploying Havi Nazir, Hashtanami Havi Nazir. So Rabbi Yehuda is the one who says that if you know for sure, if there's Meyakor, then yes. If you don't know for sure, not. So, but over here we know for sure. In other words, if you would have made a condition, said, I'm a Nazir if there's what 100 core in that pile. I'm a Nazir if this is Ruvain. You go and find 100 core in the pile. Rabbi Yehuda would say that what you are a Nazir. In this case also, if the Nazir Ruvain shows up, Rabbi Yehuda will be of the opinion that what that you're a Nazir, and the fact that you're a Nazir. So it's Rabbi Yehuda decree Rabbi Yehuda of that pile. Okay. Mesupik whether to do this or not. I think let's do this because we'll begin a new parak tomorrow.
Just a quick question, Rabbi Stern. What's the svara of Rabbi Yehuda that it's a that since he can't verify, he said Dvadai not a Nazir.
Since it's a suffix whether there was 100 core in that pile or not. A person is not going to be nichtas to a suffix. That's the svara. So even though there might have been, and right now, in other words, I don't know. At the time I made this condition, Shragi, it could have been there was 100. I will never know because it's stolen. On that condition, I was not going ahead and becoming a Nazir. I'm not nichtas to a suffix. It's only vadai if I know for sure, not if a suffix I know. That's as far.
Thanks.
Okay. Okay. The next Mishnah is a little odd. It's similar to the previous Mishnah, but over here we're going to have 10 people. Over here we're going to have 10 people involved in this case, and it's dealing in a case of a koi or kfi. We had a baseball card, we had a football card, but we lost. So since then he's become a kfi instead of a koi. So it was Ernie Koi. He punted for the Giants in the 60s. Anyway, so there was a koi or a kfi is a shaila what it is, fellas. Now a few halachas. A behema, the chaylev of a behema is asa. The chaylev of a chaya is muta. A deer, the chaylev is muta. A cow, a behema, does not require kisi adam. A chaya does require kisi adam. Good. If you're roiveya an animal, or klayim of an animal, you're roiveya, there's din of ravia, you will be able, like it has, right? There's din of one animal to another. It's a behema to a behema would not be. A chaya to a chaya would not be. A behema to a chaya would be. What about one to what? A koi. So that's the shaila at hand, and we're going to see the Gemara. I'm going to go through a Tosfos. We'll see the Mishnah, and then we'll go back and do a Tosfos. The Tosfos on this is found on half of this Gemara. Just finding the Tosfos is a riot. It's found on Lamed Gimel Lamed Aleph. It's found back. So let's see. Roas a koi. Guy sees a koi. V'amar hareini nazir sheseh chaya. I say it's a koi. It's a chaya. And another guy says hareini nazir sheseh ein a chaya. And the third guy says, Hareini Nazir, Shezeh Behema. And the fourth guy says, Hareini Nazir, Shein Zeh Behema. And the fifth guy says, Hareini Nazir, Shezeh Chaya U Behema. And the sixth guy says, Hareini Nazir, Shein Zeh Loi Chai V'lei Behema. And the seventh guy says, Hareini Nazir, She'echem Bechem Nazir. And the eighth guy says, Hareini Nazir, She'enechem Nazir. And the ninth guy says, Hareini Nazir, Shekulchem Nazirim. Right? I guess there's 9 guys. Shekulchem Nazirim, Hareini Kulam Nazirim. Okay, let's see the Tosfos, guys. The Tosfos on Lamed Gimel goes through the whole thing beautifully. Lamed Gimel Lamed Aleph. Ro'es hakoi shu safik chaya safik behema v'amar ha'echad, and the first number 1 says hareini nazir shezeh chaya v'sheni amar hareini nazir shein zeh chaya ela behema mashma devara u'shlishi amar hareini nazir shezeh behema v'loi chaya v'ravi amar hareini nazir shein zeh behema ela chaya. They're saying the same as the first 2. They're just switching the words around. The Hamishi and the 5th guy, Omer, it's a double. Now, what do you mean it's a double? So it's like a chaya behema, you would have a din kisi adam like a chaya, and chaylev would be also like a behema. Mashma that what then we bury it b'fnei atzmai. It would be not any one of them. and you would not be able to go ahead and propagate loyim chayav loyim behema. Guys, since it's not a chayav behema, then it would be a problem of kilayim, right? You wouldn't be able to put them together. It's nishta he and nishta her. So that's the explanation of when he said it's not a chaya, not a behema, it's both. These halach is being a kisi adam chaylev and Indian crossbreeding. Vashvi Yomar, the seventh one says hareni nazir she'echem mechem nazir. I'm a nazir that one of you are nazirim. Klaimar shekivin loymar emes, that you mechaven to say the truth. Vashmini Yomar hareni nazir she'ein echem mechem nazir, that one of you is not. Klaimar sheyesh echem mechem shelai kivin loymar emes, one of you is not telling the truth. But Shimi, the ninth guy says hareni nazir shekulchem nazirim. The halacha is klaimar shekulchem safek nazirim. It's all what? They're all suffering nazirim. Okay? Im Taimar, skip a line. So you got to be kasha guys in over here. The only way you can be nazirim is l'chayra hegdish b'tois. Yeah, this is comparable to the last Mishnah. The last Mishnah, who said kula nazirim? Only according to Beis Shammai, that what? That hegdish b'tois, naziris b'tois, you're a nazir. So now, if you're telling me that this is going to be Beis Shammai, you got to Gabalga Kasha. The Tana is going to go ahead and repeat Allah like Beis Shammai. We know the Gemara in Erevin and Daf Yomi Gimel went out, said Allah, the Baspol came out and said the Allah is like Beis Hillel. Beis Shammai b'Makom Hillel, Beis Hillel ain't a Mishnah. These are mamish before Gemaras. So why in the world would the Hana, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, go ahead and repeat the Mishnah according to Beis Shammai? It's Gavaldik Kasha, guys. Gavaldik Kasha. Very important places. But like the Aminon, the Mishal in the Skaim Devarav, and the Nazir, V'yesh Leimar. This Chiddush Nifla. They'll Beis Hillel Nami, Nehid in Naziris Vaday Lahavi, Naziris Misafik Havi. This would be, there would be Nazirim even according to Beis Hillel. The Kula Reb Shimon Aliba Beis Hillel Masikla, and this whole Gemara is going according to Reb Shimon, who would be nichlis into a suffix in the shita of Beis Hillel. Again, according to Beis Shammai, you're a Nazir. According to Beis Machloikas Reb Yehuda and Reb Shimon is in Beis Hillel, whether you nichlis into a suffix or not. Says the Tosfos when it says Kula Nazirim al Safik according to the Shita of Reb Shimon in Beis Hillel, and therefore what we're not, and therefore it answers the question. We're not repeating to say that Allah is like Beis Shammai. Even Beis Hillel will be made over here that what is the Safik. The Amar Gabi Asir Lachayra. Reb Shimon said in the last Mishnah, if the guy turned around and you never knew it was Ruvain or not, Davi Nazim is Safik LeBeis Hillel. Afa Gab the Ein Sveikoi Oimid Lisbayreha. So Hachanami Gabe Koi Afagav the Ein Sveikoi Oimid Lisbayreha Reb Shimon Aliba the Beis Hillel having Nazirim Safik. You'll be a Nazirim Safik. So says Tosfos that once we introduced the concept of Reb Shimon that Hasir Me'achrov, it's something you'll never know. You'll never know who this guy is. So to the Koi, even though it's in front of us, we'll never know what it is. Right? We don't know what it is. So since it's that, according to Reb Shimon, is a suffix, these people are suffix Nazirim even according to Beis Hillel. Excuse me, I'm going to finish. But Shisha Rishonim Vaday Nazirim, the first 6 guys are Vaday Nazirim, may suffix. The Machas Inish L'Sveika, the Afagav, the Koi suffix Chaya, Oisei Shama suffix Chaya, have a suffix Nazir. The Chin Kulan, the Inich Tilsa, and the last 3 guys, Basroi, Mochin Avshai L'Sveika. In other words, according to this, the first 6 is not a Shaila, it's the last 3. The last 3 are entering the suffix according to Reb Shimon. The Yesh Mefarshim, and there are others that say, the Shloisha Achroinim Nazirim Vadai. The last 3 are even not a suffix. They're Vadai Nazirim. Sha'echad Sha'oma Sha'echad Michem Nazir, have a Nazir Vadai. The one said that one of you is Nazir is telling the truth. One of you is a Nazir because it's one or the other. Reb Shimon. She'emesu Sha'echad Mehem Yeshulav Naziris. The Hainu Oisa Shekivin Le'emes. The one who's telling the truth that it's a Chayr of Behema would in fact what? Be a Nazir. And therefore, the one who said, I'm a Nazir, that one of you a Nazirim, that would be a Nazir's Vadai. The Gam Hasheni Shama She'ein Echem Michem, Gam Zeh Nazir Vadai. one of the latter three that said, I'm a Nazir, if one of you is not a Nazir, is correct. And he would be a Nazir Vadai. Shekei mashma diburoi, yesh bechem echad, she'ein a Vadai Nazir. Ve'emes hu kigoin oise shloi bola amis. Va'shlishi sh'amar kulchem Nazirim, right? Shall kulchem sofik Naziris, gamzel oime emes, levad shloisha achroinim, levad shloisha achroinim v'adin Nazirim Reb Shimon, dein tzrichim tonight. So that's one way. V'yesh mefarshim, there's another way that also there's sveikis. So basically, in a nutshell, here's the Tosfos. In this case over here, when the Mishnah goes ahead and says the Kulchem Nazirim, why are we repeating Tosfos to tell us the halacha of Beis Shammai? Says Tosfos, you're wrong. In the Mishnah, after we had Machlokes Beis Shammai with Hillel, we had the din. What's the halacha if you turn around? If the guy turns around, if the guy Reuven turns around, and then we said that like Rav Shimon, they're all Suffolk Nazirim. According to this repeating a Mishnah, the koi is the same thing as the guy turning around. And the chiddush is, despite the fact that the koi is in front of us, it's tantamount to the guy turning around. Why? Because you'll never know what it is. Just like you don't know who that guy was, you won't know what this is. And therefore, the din of kul nazirim suffix would go according to Rav Shimon in the Shita of Beis Hillel that all suffix nazirim. Now, the shayla is in the last three guys, and now we have machlokes. Whether the first six are suffix nazirim, the latter three is either vaday nazirim or suffix nazirim. Yes, Shragi. Okay, he's good.
I'm good. Sorry, I tried to unmute. I'm good.
Okay, very good. Now, you just sometimes have to wait. You're asking kashas, usually on the right path, Shrag. Okay, so now we have, so that's the Mishnah, guys. That now see the Gemara on Lamed Daled. Okay, Hani Chada Tisha Nazirim. One we learn, it says that there are 9 Nazirim. One place we learn there are 9 Nazirim. On one lashon there were 9 Nazirim. And the second, and the brisa, we have another brisa that says what? That the Tanyidach Tisha Naziriyos, that one person has 9 Naziris on him. In other words, it's either 9 separate people on Nazirim or one person with chalois of 9 Nazirim on him. Now, Bishlema Tisha Nazirim Kigoin, the Havigarve Tafe, the Afis, the Ozel Bay, right? As we just said, you had 9 people. They were mafis, and they manifested one into the other in the Kilm Naziris, as we said in the Mishnah. Elatisha Naziriyos, 9 Naziris in one person, the Chad Gavra Hechi Mishkachasla, Bishlema Shish, the 6 can be on Mishkachasla, Kidit Nan, the one, right? Avatalas, the last one where it said the last 3, Hechi Mishkachasla, on one person. It's not possible to say, why do we say? The last person said, I'm a kabel on if one of you, we're all on one person. So how is it possible? In other words, he is one person. So what's he saying? I'm a Nazir if one of you is and one of you isn't. I mean, the lashon it doesn't work like that. So therefore, how's it possible? So the Gemara comes up with the following solution. Here's the answer to that. So Rav Sheshes says Rav Sheshes can go in. He sees 9 people that the makabel on themselves naziris, each one on its sad suffix. After what? After this kfi, all these 9 people, and one of them says on himself, Harei alai, the din of all of you. So therefore, on him, this one person, you'd have the whole 9 sveikas. To explain the brisa, how's it possible? You just take the Mishnah, and the guy says, I'm like all these guys. Harei alai, all these guys, and all these guys, you have 9 case, it will be on him as well. Okay, wish you a good evening. We'll see you at Bez Hashem tomorrow.